Good evening, thank you for joining us. Our main story tonight, faster trains and more seats for Yorkshire's rail passengers.
Yes, the government's unveiled a plan to invest billions in the railways, and a lot of the money is coming right here. £500 million will be spent on electrifying the Midland Main Line, which will mean new trains and faster journeys from Sheffield to Chesterfield and London.
£250 million will be invested in the East Coast route from Leeds and Doncaster to London King's Cross.
And more money will be spent at Leeds and Huddersfield stations, which, along with improvements around Manchester, should make Trans-Pennine services more reliable and create room for an extra 5,000 commuters a day.
So, a really significant day. What will it mean for your journey? Tom Ingle is live in Sheffield. Tom.
Yes, good evening, Harry. It seems that Sheffield is one of the big winners from this announcement. £500 million, as you say, to electrify the Midland Main Line that starts behind me, heads off to Chesterfield, then Derby and London St Pancras. But electrification by itself doesn't necessarily mean faster trains. They will be cleaner, yes, they will be greener, but to accelerate the services, they will need to spend some money improving the track and infrastructure as well. That's why some local MPs here have only given today's announcement a very cautious welcome, saying it's important the government and Network Rail do a complete job. Now, if they do that, you might see some acceleration between Sheffield and London of about 15 minutes. At the moment, it's 2 hours 5, so you could be looking at journey times of 1 hour 50 minutes to the capital. Even so, that will not be as fast as the existing time from Doncaster down to King's Cross, down the East Coast Main Line, which is an hour and a half. Now, again, as you say, the East Coast Main Line is going to get its own wash and brush up from this announcement. £250 million is going to be spent sorting out some of the bottlenecks on that railway, which should improve reliability and accelerate train services even further on the East Coast Main Line. Now, naturally, the Liberal Democrat Transport Minister Norman Baker says accelerating services is good for everybody.
We want to get the best journey possible. We want to ensure that all parts of the country benefit from economic growth, and the shorter the journey time we can make it between Leeds, for example, and London is going to be beneficial for the economy of this area. We're determined to help the economy, we're determined to help the environment, and investment in rail does both those things.
Now, that's not all, because the government have already announced electrification between Leeds and Manchester. Today they announced a project called Northern Hub, which is based in Manchester, sorting out some key junctions. But rather like the chaos theory, where a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the Pennines, they do that and it sorts out the reliability of train services around Leeds, around Huddersfield, some money being spent there as well. Particularly, the government promised, with extra services, 5,000 extra commuter seats every morning going in and out of Leeds, which naturally enough, talking to passengers this morning at Leeds station, was music to their ears.
Oh, I'm going on the London train to pick my grandchildren up, and I've been on it before and it's been delayed, so better service.
It's exactly what we want. We need investment in the railways. We need smoother, swifter, faster rail, and better. I think the most important thing is better rolling stock.
I'd be really interested if they actually reduce the cost of travel at the same time.
I think it's just a brilliant idea. There should be more money put and cheaper rail tickets.
Now, two important caveats. This is only the government's shopping list. It won't definitely all happen. Secondly, the earliest it will start is 2014, so don't book your fast rail ticket to London just yet.
Tom, thanks ever so much. Well, joining us now from our London studio is Christian Woolmar, one of the country's leading transport commentators, to answer some of those points. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Woolmar. Well, OK, it's not going to happen yet, but will it happen at all?
Well, certainly the main parts of this programme will definitely happen, in particular the electrification. I think it's no coincidence that Nick Clegg is a Sheffield MP, and obviously this was high on his shopping list. It's long overdue. It's electrified already between London and Bedford, so that will certainly happen. Whether all the details of these projects will happen is up to the Office of Rail Regulation. They will look at this, they will look at the amount of money available, and then they will tell the government whether it's actually feasible to go ahead with all these projects.
Mr. Woolmar, you're an expert. What's more important, a quicker journey into the capital or 5,000 more seats, say, across the Pennines?
Well, I don't think you can judge between those two things. The Pennines is one of the real bottlenecks of the rail network. It's very successful. It really should be a sort of motorway standard of railways in order to relieve pressure on the M62. So that's very important. But electrification, Sheffield has been somewhat of a backwater of the railways with quite a slow service, not a very good line. So I think that's really important for the development of Sheffield. Railways in general bring about investment, all sorts of other investment. They encourage economic development and they're very useful for leisure travellers too. So they're basically a good thing, which is why we've had this announcement today.
Well, we saw one of the commuters look straight into our camera there and say, does that mean cheaper ticket prices? I'm asking you, will it necessarily mean more expensive tickets?
No, it's certainly not going to mean cheaper ticket prices, I'm afraid. The government is intent on putting more of the burden of the cost of the railways, which are heavily subsidised, onto fare payers rather than taxpayers. At the moment, the formula is RPI plus 3%, which amounts to 6 or 7%. Hopefully, with pressure from Justine Greening, the Transport Secretary, they'll bring that down to RPI plus 1%. We'll know this quite soon in July, and then there'll be a lot of debate about it. I know that Justine Greening is very keen on keeping the fares rises down, but they certainly won't go down entirely. The prices won't go down entirely.
Christian Woolmer, thank you very much.
And still to arrive on this platform, look north.
How part of Bradford